Do you want a quick way to beat the heat this summer, but still have a delicious supper ready when you get home? Well, keep watching. Hey y'all, I'm Sammy and welcome to my kitchen. Y'all love the last Crockpot video so much, so I'm bringing you 6 more delicious dump and go crockpot recipes that you don't want to pass up on. So sit back and relax and let me do all the cooking. Come on y'all, let's go. Let's start with the most delicious tacos ever. Trust me, you're gonna want to make these BARRIA or BARRIA tacos, however you want to say it, for your next Taco Tuesday. Starting out, I bought this BARRIA sauce from Kroger's. I'm pretty sure you could probably find it other places, but it's supposed to be authentic BARRIA sauce or BARRIA. So I just sprayed my crock pot. I put a little bit of that sauce right down in there, and then I'm going to put my chuck roast into the bottom. I did not add any extra seasonings because this sauce is so delicious. I tasted it out of the jar. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's got a sweetness, it's got the salty, the smoky, and it does have some heat to it, which I absolutely love. So that cooked in the crock pot for 9 hours on low. When I got home from work, this is what was happening in the crock pot. Let me just put it that way. So all we're going to do is just take my little meat shredder, and we're just going to shred that meat on down until it is well shredded. How many times can I say shredded? Lord. But I had to taste it just to see what we had flavor wise, and y'all, oh my goodness, this was absolutely delicious. I cannot explain to you how many flavors is going on in this. It is so good, so good. So now that we have this all shredded up, I've got my corn. Well, you can use corn tortillas, but I decided to use just the flour tortillas. I have this, it's like a Mexican mozzarella. I've got a lime, some sour cream, and some cilantro out of my herb garden. We're just going to go ahead and get all of these put together, and Josh was willing to help me cook supper this night, which I absolutely loved. So on our little stovetop griddle, we've got our flour tortillas down on some butter, and we're putting that cheese right on top of that to let that kind of melt on down. And then we are going to add in the BARRIA meat, or BARRIA. I like to say BARRIA. How would y'all say it? Let me know down below. Or if you've ever had these, also let me know down below. So we are adding some chopped up onions to this, and then we are also going to put some of that delicious cilantro on it as well. If you don't like cilantro or onions, please feel free to leave these out. I know a lot of people make them with just the meat and cheese and some lime juice, and they say they are just as good, but we love cilantro and lime. Oh, y'all, you've got to give this a try. See if you can find that sauce, or if you can find the peppers that are in it. I think they're like guajillo, and I can't think of the other names, but I'll link a recipe down below where you can make it yourself, or if you can find the sauce. But if you love this video so far and you want to make these delicious tacos, make sure you give me a big old thumbs up, and think about hitting that subscribe button, because I would love to have y'all as part of my YouTube family. Plus, do you really want to miss out on some more delicious videos? I don't think so. Moving right along, we are going to make the best ever meatloaf. And y'all, I have made some meatloafs in the past. Let me tell y'all, I love me some meatloaf. But this one, we're going to make in the crock pot. Talk about a time saver to have that meatloaf already done, and you ain't got to turn on your oven when you get home from work and heat up that house. So, and another part of the best thing is the container that meat comes in. Y'all can see right here, I'm just adding everything right on in there to it. So I've got 2 eggs in there with 1 medium onion that is diced up finely, and I kind of just scooted that around a little bit with my little spurtle. I'm going to put some salt and pepper in there to taste, along with 1 packet of the Lipton onion soup mix. Now this is 2.5 pounds of ground beef as well. I forgot to tell y'all that. And then I am using one of these Kinder's meatloaf seasoning packets,
This is not in the recipe, but this is what I decided to use. And I always put in a sleeve of crushed up Ritz crackers. And then we are going to add a 1/4 cup of cold milk and then a 1/4 cup of ketchup just to put right on top of there. And then we're going to use the best tools that God ever gave us, which is our hands. And we're going to get this meatloaf mixed on up. Now, you do not want to over mix your meatloaf because it will be dry and tough. But once you have this mixed up, we're just going to leave it sit in this container while we get our, I call it barbecue sauce, ready. But you could call it whatever you want to, but you just don't want to miss making this, trust me. So we've got a 1/2 cup of ketchup in there with about 2 tablespoons of mustard, 2 teaspoons of vinegar. And I'm eyeballing all this, but y'all don't have to do that if you don't want to. We're going to put some garlic powder and onion powder into this mix. And the next thing that we will add in once we have the garlic and onion powder, of course, is some brown sugar. Now, this is why I say that it reminds me of a barbecue sauce. Oh, and don't forget your pepper. Gotta have the pepper. And the W sauce or the Dub sauce or the Worcestershire, whatever you want to call it, but we're just going to call it delicious. So once you have your brown sugar on in there, I just use that same old spoon, and we're just going to give that a good old mix through until everything is nice and dissolved into that sauce. We'll set it aside because now we've got to get our crock pot ready. Y'all, I cannot rave enough about this method. I don't even know if I'll ever go back to putting it in the oven. Because this way was just so easy. I did use my oven a little bit though, I ain't gonna lie. But y'all see that in a minute. Now I did line my crock pot with some tinfoil. I just put one way and then I put the other piece on top of it the opposite way. And then I'm just forming my meatloaf right into the crock pot. And then we will take this delicious barbecue sauce, pour that right over the top, but we are going to reserve some of that for once it's done in the crock pot so we can top it and put it right into the broiler. That way we can kind of brown up that topping because it is so good. But the lid goes on this and it cooks on low for 6 hours. And y'all, when I got home, the smell, oh my goodness, it was amazing. It smelled so good. Like I said, this is probably the best way to make a meatloaf in my opinion, especially during the hot summer months. Now, I did just pick up the whole entire meatloaf with that tinfoil and I just slid it right on off into a baking sheet right here that's lined with foil because to be honest, I didn't want to have to clean up a bunch of dirty dishes. So I put the rest of that sauce on there and I stuck it under the broiler in the oven for just a few minutes until that barbecue sauce got a little bit sticky and golden brown and bubbly and all those good words. But we just served it on up with some mashed taters and some yellow sweet corn and it was so yummy. Moving right along into this delicious creamy Italian chicken. And yep, it's all made in the crock pot. Well, with the exception of the spaghetti or the pasta, of course. But let's go ahead and get right on into making this. Starting out into a sprayed crock pot. This is an 8-quart crock pot, I believe. I've got 4 chicken breasts in there. They're still kind of frozen, so I'll be cooking mine a little bit longer. But I'm just seasoning them on up with some Badia Complete. And then I'm taking my little knife right there, and I'm just kind of making some holes into the chicken. And then I'll sprinkle this Italian packet of Italian dressing. I think I said that twice, didn't I? Then we'll just lay a block of cream cheese right over the top. Add 2 cans of crema chicken soup and about 2 tablespoons of garlic. You don't have to put that much in there, but y'all know I love garlic. So then we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and then we'll put our lid right on top of it. And this goes on low for about 4.5 to 5 hours. I did cook mine for 5 hours since mine was still a little bit frozen. But this is what you got after the cook time. And I just took my meat masher, of course. It is the easiest way to chop up chicken if you're doing it in a crock pot, of course, because you don't want to put your mixer in there. It could break the crock pot in half or in pieces, and you don't want to do that. So once I had that chicken all broken up, I just put the lid right back on it, and we are going to boil 12 ounces of whatever pasta you want. I've just got bow ties because I figured that would be the cutest thing to put in there, and I love bow tie pasta anyways. I did reserve 3/4 of a cup of that pasta cooking liquid to help kind of, thin this sauce out just a little bit. But once I gave that a stir, I did see that I was going to need that pasta water, so I put all 3/4 of a cup in there. We're going to go ahead and give that a good old stir together. Now, you could always add in some Parmesan cheese to it, but I just served it on top with some fresh basil. Oh my goodness, y'all, was this so good, so delicious. Yeah, definitely gotta give this one a try. It was honestly about an 8 out of 10. I still love the Olive Garden chicken better, but this one was definitely yummy. Moving right on along, we're going to make this delicious $1 million sketty. This was amazing. Trying to get my words out, and they didn't want to quite come out. But starting out into a 4-quart crock pot, I've got 2 large boneless, skinless chicken breasts. We're going to go ahead and season those on up with some Badia Complete, but you could just use garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. I am adding in some Badia Complete black garlic to that as well. Then we're going to put in a regular Alfredo sauce and then a cheesy garlic Alfredo sauce right here. And then I just added a little bit of water to both jars and shook them up and dumped that right on in just to kind of help give this enough pasta sauce. We're going to put this on low and let it cook for about 3.5 hours. Once that cook time is over, we will go ahead and get the chicken breast out of there, and we'll just lay them on a plate, and we'll get that chopped up into cubes. You can even do slices. You could leave the chicken breast whole if you wanted to, but we're mixing all of this up in the crock pot, so that's why I just chose to lay them on a plate and chop them up. But once you have the chicken out, you're going to add in 1 entire packet of a ranch dressing. You're going to add in I think that's a 3-ounce bag of bacon bits, the real bacon pieces, and I think 2.5 ounces of a shredded Parmesan cheese. You'll give that a real good stir together, and this is where I'm just chopping up that chicken. Y'all can see how tender that was. I didn't even really have to push down on that to get that to chop up, so that was easy peasy lemon squeezy. We'll add all of that chopped chicken right back on up into that sauce. Now, while all of this was happening, I did have some sketty noodles on the stove boiling, and I just cooked those to the package directions. But once they were done, I added them right on into the crock pot, and you'll want to give this a good old stir together. And as you could see, there's plenty of sauce, so you didn't need to reserve any of that pasta water. But sometimes if your sauce is a little bit thicker, you might want to reserve some just in case. But we just served this up with some extra Parmesan, some basil, and some more bacon bits. Hey, if y'all are liking this video, go ahead and please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and become part of my YouTube family. I would love to have y'all. Now let's keep this train of deliciousness rolling with some French dips. These are the most simplest French dips you will ever make, and they are so delicious. So into a large crock pot, this is my 8-quart, I got some diced up onions into the bottom, and then I seasoned up my roast with some Badia Complete. I put that in there, seasoned side down, and we're just going to put some more Badia Complete right on top of that. Add in 1 can of beef consomme and 1 can of French onion soup mix. Put that lid on that baby, put it on low, and cook it all day long, up to 10 hours. The longer you cook it, the better the flavors and the more tender that beef roast is going to be. So this was about 10 hours of cook time by the time I got home from work, and y'all, this was so good, and it was so simple. And once again, I'm going to use my handy dandy meat masher right there and get that all shredded up. And then I also drained out that jus right there. That way we could have that sauce to dip it right on into. And I just served these on some brioche buns with some provolone cheese and some French fries. Y'all definitely need to try this if you want something in a hurry on a weeknight. This is definitely right up y'all's alley. Now, last but not least, I have to share my barbecue ribs in the crock pot because this is the simplest way ever to make delicious barbecue ribs that fall right off the bone. So I just cut both packages of ribs in half, and I took off that membrane off the back, or they call it silver skin, and I just took that right on off with a paper towel. It pulls straight off the bone. You can't ask for anything easier. And then I just put some mustard on as a binder. You do not taste it. And then I put in some bourbon peach Kinder's seasoning along with this Suckle Busters SPG, which is just salt, pepper, garlic. And I did this to both sides of the ribs. Now into a sprayed crock pot, we're going in with 4 ounces of apple juice, and then I just drank the other 4 ounces because I love me some apple juice. I stand each piece, all 4 pieces of the ribs up on their side, of course. And then I put a layer of barbecue sauce in between each one. I don't like cover them in barbecue sauce, but I do want that flavor to cook through them. We'll put the lid on those and let those cook for a good 5 to 7 hours on low. And I cannot even tell y'all the smell that was in my house. It smelled like a barbecue place that you would go and sit down to. I don't know. It was just delicious. So I did take these out of the crock pot though once they were done. I put them here on my sheet pan. That way I could get them into my broiler and let the rest of that barbecue sauce just cook all down over them and get nice and sticky like you would have at a barbecue joint. So that's what I'm doing here. I just used, I think it was the G. Hughes, the sugar-free barbecue sauce. Y'all, that stuff is amazing. If y'all have never tried it, definitely get you some of that. But I just served up these ribs with some hash brown casserole and some good old smothered green beans. I will see if I can link both of those videos down below where I shared them. But now it's time for this week's bloopers for this video, I should say.
Do you want some good ways to beat the heat this summer but still have a delicious supper? Well, no, let me see. What am I gonna do? Like, I like that saying, but is it really? How do I want to put this? Like, I know what I want to say before I get in front of the camera, and then it just goes right out my mind. Okay, so do I want to say why is this so hard? Every time, never fails. It's like maybe by the 5th, 7th, 10th time of me doing an intro, I can get it. Maybe. You know, outro, no issue. But the intro, it's like, why can't you get it together? Okay. So sit back and relax. Let me do all the cooking. No. Is that right? All right, y'all, that is it for today's video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below and think about hitting that red subscribe button right there. Sometimes you think you might be subscribed, but you're really not, so make sure you check that out. It's absolutely free, and I would absolutely love to have y'all. But until next time, if you are needing some prayers, please let me know down below, and I would be honored to pray for you all. And if you want some more crockpot inspiration, check out these other 2 videos that are on your screen right now. Until next time, God bless. Bye.